Brawlers, welcome to the Brawling Pit. We talk about all things casual and kitchen table magic like Brawl and EDH. You are listening to episode 33. I am Johnathan and he is Jacob.
Greetings.
Hey.
I think I'm going to settle on greetings from here on out.
So you're not going to change it anymore?
Actually, I like changing it. I'm going to change it again. All right, you ready? Howdy, partner.
It is high noon.
You're not wrong. It's probably high noon somewhere about this time.
No, I can't say it like a McCree.
Did you see the new hero that they teased?
Ash. Yeah, I saw Ash.
Ash. And
yeah.
if you saw...
She doesn't use a bow and arrow.
Yeah, actually, I was literally going to bring that up. So League of Legends obviously is a very huge game. So with subreddits, they have like a champion name mains, right? So like there's Janna mains, there's Sona mains, like any hero name and then mains. Okay, so there's Ash mains. So then when this new Ash got teased, it's spelled the same way. So like they had an invasion of Overwatch, and now last time I heard, I think they're literally gonna say like, oh, we're just gonna share the sub. So half our posts are gonna be on Overwatch, and half the posts are gonna be on League of Legends. Yikes.
Ash mains.
Yep.
We're not an Overwatch podcast, though. We are a Magic the Gathering podcast.
Let's do it. Let's start an Overwatch podcast. Let's do it. Hey, Overwatch players! Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Johnathan, and we talked about all things Overwatch, including the competitive and casual scene. Johnathan, what do you have to say about this week's Ash teaser?
It's high noon.
That was pretty good for an improv intro. Come on, I get some credit.
Yep, I think that's pretty good. So, how are you doing?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
Okay, what are we doing today?
Let me pull up my script here. Hold on. Well, according to my script, it looks like we're talking about Magic the Gathering. Did you like that sound effect, by the way? I had this little...
That was pretty good. So, today we are going to talk about the Golgari Brawl deck. Ooh.
Brawl's a pretty good format.
Brawl's a good format. And the commander is Vraska, Golgari Queen.
The second most valuable piece on the chessboard.
I don't think you can make a pawn into a Golgari Queen. But I'm not gonna argue with you in chess. Vraska Golgari Queen is 2 black-green for 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker. The subtype is surprisingly Vraska. In +2 to sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life, draw a card. -3 to destroy target non-land permanents with converted mana cost 3 or less. Or you can -9 to get an emblem that wins you the game. Everything on this planeswalker is so good that I'm surprised I took this direction with the deck.
I think you could probably take nearly any direction with Vraska, and you'll probably be good, because Vraska, this planeswalker is just so good, as we mentioned in our Brawling Pit episode. Literally, aptly called, self-titled The Brawling Pit.
Yeah. The direction, though. When I was going through all the Golgari cards within the Ravnica set, I noticed one very interesting thing. Is about half the Golgari creatures are elves. I've decided to make it an elf tribal deck, and this turns out to be a really, really good deck.
I like it.
It's Vraska's elves / reanimation. Yes, there's reanimation in this deck as well.
I mean, we're in green and black. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well, right? And I have divided the deck into different sections again, so we can talk about it with different perspectives. And let's start with what every single deck wants, and that's the ramp package. The ramp package is strong within this deck.
As it should be. We are a green elf deck.
We are a green elf deck. There are a lot of mana dorks, Druid of the Cowl, Elfheim Druid, Llanowar Elves, but the strongest of them all is probably Morrowind and Nurturer.
Yeah, remember when this guy came out? We originally said... Actually, hold on. Before we do that, let's remind everybody what he does. Morrowind is a 2 and a green, Elf Druid, 1/1, and when another elf enters the battlefield under your control, you get to put a 1/1 counter on Morrowind. And then you can tap and add any amount of green equal to his current power. So if you pump him, even without +1/+1 counters on him, then you get to add more mana. Or if you play a bunch of elves, he pumps himself up, and you have to add a bunch of mana. Really, really awesome guy. And if you remember, in our Dominaria Brawling Pit, our self-titled Brawling Pit episode, we said that, Marwyn seems really good, but probably not as a commander himself, just because that would restrict your colors so much,
Yeah.
But I think he takes on a really awesome role here, though, in this green-black deck.
Oh, absolutely. Number 1, he's an elf. Is it he or she?
I don't think it matters. That's the response that Wizards wants to hear, so that's what I'm gonna say. I don't think it matters.
Well, they are an elf, and almost every other creatures are elves as well. So they will get pumped a lot, become huge, and allow us to play more elves.
Marwyn's a chick.
Okay.
In the flavor text, it's a midwife. So.
Okay. Well. She will get really big and be able to tap for a really, really strong late game, which we have a pretty strong late game package we'll talk about later. Dude, she's so good.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Good card. I like good cards. See, I don't know, man. The more I talk about this kind of stuff, the more I'm just like, yeah, I like Naya, but I'm realizing I just like good cards. Get all the bad stuff out. I just like good cards,
Mm-hmm.
And I like this card. This card's really good.
Yep. So in addition to all the mana darks we have, including Marwyn, which we just keep saying how she is so strong. We use all the pronouns for her, by the way. But
oh my god, let's not bring pronouns into this.
Yeah, but
okay.
Elfish Rejuvenator is 2 and a green for a 1/1, which obviously passes the vanilla test. But he's an elf. But when it enters a battlefield, you look at the top 5 of your library, and you may put a land among them onto play. Put the rest on the bottom. So this ramp effect is slightly stronger than the mana dorks, because even after board wipe, you still have that land. It's until they cast the Fall Fran that you will be sad.
But don't be sad.
Yeah, but the upside is it can be any land. Any land. Even
we have some lands that you want to pull and not mill.
Yeah, we do. But one of those lands are also within this ramp package. Cabal Stronghold is a land that says you can tap for colors. Or you can pay 3 and tap to add black for each basic swamp you control.
Now, this is a card that, honestly, I'm really happy we found a home for it. Because I think, there have been historically many lands like this, although stronger versions of it,
Yeah, Cabal's Coffers is exactly this card, but better.
Yeah. And it's a shame that Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth is also not in standard. I say unfortunate, but on the other hand, it might also be fortunate that it's not in standard. Because those 2 cards are a huge wombo together.
Cabal Coffers and Urborg is definitely a combo.
Yeah.
And
man, like, I'm honestly struggling a little bit trying to figure out like a good place for this card. It was actually kind of difficult, not gonna lie.
So in a commander deck that already contains Urborg, Cabal Stronghold can be quite strong in a deck that doesn't run a lot of non-basics. So for example, if you're in mono black, Cabal Stronghold is really good.
Yep.
But I'm arguing that this is good enough in this deck, even though we're 2 colors. We already have so many ramp that the slight upside of being able to tap for more than 4 blacks out of it is a good upside that we would like in the late game. The last card in our ramp package, of course, is Scroll from the Ashes. We are pretty familiar with this card. We talked about this quite a lot, but for those of you who doesn't remember, it's 2 and a green for sorcery that you can kick for 2, which search for a basic land card and put into play untapped. If you kicked it, then you are searching 2 instead of 1, and they both come into play untapped. and then you shuffle your library.
Can I kick it?
I would argue that this is one of the few kicker cards where it won't fight back if you kick it. So unlike like a Grundle Lonely King, every time I look at that art, I'm like, I don't want to kick this thing. This is gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's like kick this card. Or no, it's like you kick Grun if you have a Death Wish. And
Yeah, exactly.
most of the time I don't have a Death. I mean, sometimes. No, I'm kidding. But I agree. Those are you don't want to kick those guys. They look like they can take you on in a fight.
Yeah, if you're having suicidal thoughts, I recommend calling the hotlines instead of kicking Grung.
Yes, don't do that.
Yep. So,
anyways, moving on.
Anyways, quite a powerful ramp package, but our elf engines are also pretty strong. There are some elves in our deck that are either lords or they just keep the deck going so we don't run out of steam. The first card we want to talk about is Elfish Clan Caller. Green for a 1/1 elf druid, which gives other elves +1/+1.
I think the really powerful thing about elves, just historically, this is nothing new to standard, but like elves, obviously, they have, I think, the most ramp of any other creature type in the game. Have the most ramp. I'm like pretty sure elves have that title.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Yeah. So not only do elves have a ton of ramp that allow you to accelerate into your middle and late game plans quicker than your opponents, but they also have tons and tons of synergistic effects like these lords, where now your mana dorks in the late game are able-bodied creatures like ready to kill your opponents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those 1/1s that you weren't worried about, now they're no longer 1/1s. They're a lot bigger. So another lord we have, quote-unquote lord, is Vanquisher's Banner, which is 5 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you choose elves, and then creatures you control of the chosen type gets +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, which is elf, you draw a card.
You know, in Legacy, they have to play, they have to play one card for this, and they only get it for one turn.
Are you talking about Glimpse of Nature?
Yes, that is the exact card I'm talking about.
Yeah. Glimpse of Nature is a good card. And
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's green for a sorcery that allows you to draw a card whenever you play a creature spell this turn. Which is very similar to the next card we're going to talk about. Beast Whispers, 2 green for a 2/3. That says whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that's also in our deck. He's also an elf, also a druid, but he's an elf.
Oh, man. You know, Guilds of Ravnica has, in my opinion, has just been one of the better sets in recent years. My opinion. One thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And, it's hard to say that. Like, it's hard to say that you're being objective, especially when you're someone like me that's played and loved the Return to Ravnica, and to an extent, even though I wasn't there for the original Ravnica, don't hang me over that. But I also really appreciated original Ravnica too. It's hard to not sound biased when you say that. Oh, this Ravnica is great, but I really do feel like this Ravnica is great. So I guess I'm just doomed to be biased about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about how strong this set is. That's amazing. In fact, it's so amazing. It gave us a new experiment 1. Pouch Collectors, green for 1/1 elf warrior. That says whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pouch Collectors, you put a +1/+1 counter on Pouch Collector. As long as Pouch Collector has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has trample.
I like this card. Card seems good.
Dude, is a 1-drop 4/4? I think 1-drop 4/4s are really good with trample.
It's an elf.
It is an elf.
This card could probably not have. Well, I mean, we wouldn't play it in this deck if it weren't an elf. But like, I don't know. I think this card probably could have not been an elf and still been okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wouldn't be as good because I mean we wouldn't be playing in this deck. I don't think. But
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, still decent.
Pretty good. Next up, we have Poison Tip Archer, which is 2 green-black for a 2/3 elf archer with reach and death touch. Whenever another creature dies, and that includes your creature and your opponent's creature, whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life.
Oh, and these kind of effects are really, really powerful.
Oh yeah. We will talk about slightly when we go into our tokens section. Yes, we have a lot of token generators. Well, not a lot. We have like a couple of token generators, but
better than nothing.
Yeah, once you can sack your tokens consistently, there's nothing an opponent can do but lose life. Swarm Guildmage is also an elf. Green black for a 2/2 elf shaman. You can pay 4 and black to tap and give creatures you control +1/+0 and menace until end of turn. Or you can also pay 1 and green, tap to gain 2 life. This is a finisher.
Yeah, and this elf deck was probably good enough without it, but gotta kick it up to 11.
Yeah. And late game, when you already have an established board, you just need that slight edge. You need the umph to go through. You just tap and give everything +1/+0 and menace.
Or you wanna win it with style. That you gotta or just establish dominance. You gotta say no, I'm the boss here. Like it's like the BM. I don't know. This is like I feel like this is kind of like a local BM where just a handful of friends will know. But like you gotta be like after you win the game and you crush them, you gotta like show your hand. You like still had all these, baby. Like
oh like, my gosh, you're making a statement with that in your hand.
Yeah.
Wow. I could have casted this 2 turns ago, but I didn't because I want to win without it. Damn. Well, this next card might be something you send back too. Underrealm Lich is 3 black green for 4/3 zombie elf shaman. 2 relevant creature types on 1 card. If you draw a card, instead, you look at the top 3 of your library, put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So this filters your deck really, really fast. But you can also pay 4 life to give it indestructible.
Yeah, and we've also talked about this one before. I think he's great.
Yeah. I mean,
and it can be kind of scary. I feel like for like a lot of new players, they're like, oh no, I have to pay life.
Yeah, I don't want to pay 4 life.
Right. But it's so good. Oh man, it's so good being like, oh, you're gonna spend this premium removal spell on my guy. I'll just pay 4 life. Oh man, I'd pay that every day. I'd pay that until I got down to 1 life, and then I wouldn't pay it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't pay for it if you have less than 4 life. I don't think the game allows you to do that.
Right. No, it doesn't. I'd pay it until I got to 4 life, and then I wouldn't pay it.
Yeah.
Because then I can pay it. Then I can't pay it right there.
Right. Yeah. The game rules does not allow you to pay 4 life when you only have 4 life. You literally cannot.
Yeah. If you're less than 4 life, can't pay it. Exactly at 4 life, can pay it. You're good.
Yeah, a judge can tell you that, and you can ask your local judge. But the 4 life is probably worth it. Life is just a resource. It makes no difference winning the game with 1 life and 50 life, unless you're playing, the life gain win cons. But we're not. We're not in white.
No.
So,
and we just did that deck too a little bit ago.
Yeah. But Underrealm Lich. Now, why do you want to put things in your graveyard? Well, because we have a really strong reanimation package. There's actually another card that kind of helps us with the reanimation, and it's Glowspore Shaman, which is black-green for a 3/1 Elf Shaman, which when it enters battlefield, you mill 3, and then you may put a land card from your graveyard on top of your library.
That seems pretty good. It fixes your next draw stat. It doesn't like draw you a card, but it does what you want your deck to do, which is get things in your graveyard. And if you need a land next turn, you have a land.
Yeah.
And the best part about it all is aggressively statted.
Yeah, so one of the lands it can bring back hilariously is Memorial to Folly, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped and tap for black. But you can pay 2 and a black to tap and sack Memorial to Folly and return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Now you can use it to reanimate 2 things instead of 1. Pretty good.
Pretty decent, if I do say so myself.
Yeah. Any recursion effect is actually pretty good in singleton formats like these. We talked about it plenty of times. However, there are some other strong cards in the reanimation package. Journey to Eternity. Oh boy. It's 1 black green for a legendary enchantment aura. Enchants a creature you control. When an enchanted creature dies, return to battlefield under your control. Then you return Journey to Eternity to the battlefield, transform under your control. What does it do on the other side, Jacob?
I don't know. You should enlighten me.
So, Soul, Cave of Eternity is a legendary land that allows you to tap and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
Okay, I mean, that seems like a pretty good card.
What a good card.
Yeah. Nothing else?
You can also pay 3 black green and tap it to return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh, you were slow rolling us.
Yeah. You can pay 5 to return anything from your graveyard to your battlefield.
And
Now,
the best part is that it doesn't get exiled after it dies. You can just keep doing it.
And you just keep doing it. And Journey to Eternity is something that's good. I mean, they can remove Journey and then you'll be sad. However, if Journey sticks and the thing it enchants dies, usually a high target creature or something that dies really easily, you can just bring back Journey really, really easily.
And like this is like a perfect card because just balance wise too, I think. Because it comes down early enough, it's at 3 mana, so that you could like reasonably get it to stick early. And that's like kind of the goal. You know, like you want this to just stick on like a medium to high value target thing. I mean, low value if you're really desperate, sure, but like, you just want this on the board.
Yeah, I mean, there is a way to make sure it flips. If you have Orcron Assassin on the battlefield, 1 black green for a 1/1 Death Toucher Elf Assassin that says all creatures able to block it do so. If you have that, you're guaranteed to flip Journey to Eternity, and the Orcron will just come back. So that's one of the little combos with Journey. I think it's pretty good. Journey and enchantments in general are really hard to remove in any format. It's the hardest permanent to remove. Now, Golgari Vinebroker is green, black for a 3/4 elf shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you return target permanents from your graveyard to your hand. Also quite powerful.
Seems decent.
Yeah. If you snap Journey to Eternity on it and it flips,
that'd be the dream. That'd be
a dream. But
yeah.
I don't think people will ever kill Vinebroker before they kill Journey, if they have the choice. Next up, we have a split card. The first half is part of the reanimation package, but the second half is not half bad. Fine is Golgari for a sorcery that says return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Hopefully, you always do 2. Finality is 4 green black for a sorcery that says you may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, and then all creatures get -4 and 2 on turn.
Seems alright.
One half is reanimation, and the other half is a board wipe. It's a good board wipe, no less, because it hopefully pumps something out of range, and then it just kills everything.
I really like how, like in this deck in particular, I know when we first talked about this card, we were like, at least I wasn't super enthusiastic about it, but I think this really fits in this deck.
Yeah, this next card also fits in quite well. What is it though?
It is Gruesome Menagerie, and we have also spoken about this one before at length. The 3 black for a 5 CMC sorcery. Choose a creature card with converted mana cost 1 in your graveyard, and then you do the same thing for 2 and 3, and you get to put all 3 of those back on the battlefield.
That is really strong. An interesting interaction, by the way, is if you put Pelt Collector, Elfish Clankcaller, and Marwyn 1, 2, 3 back to the battlefield at the same time, they will all see each other come in.
Yeah, that's actually really important. And you start to notice a pattern too with those kind of cards. You start to notice that in general, stuff sees each other coming in and going out if they all enter at the same time.
Yeah, and those are, by the way, by no means the only targets you can bring back. There are a lot of value targets you can bring back. We'll talk about Rexage later. Another good target is Slimefoot. Slimefoot is a really good card, even though it's not an elf. Yeah, the Orcron Assassin is another card that I can bring back on the 3. So quite a strong card in this deck. I dig. Yeah. Also take Vivid Revival, which is 4 and black for sorcery that says return up to 3 target multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then you exile Vivid Revival.
And I think it's important to note, and that's cards, not just creatures.
Yeah, so I mean, it hits a little bit less cards than our Celestia deck, but there's still some really good targets. Notably, Underrealm Lich. When you're at 4 life and you can't pay for the 4 life, and it dies, now you can bring it back.
You know, one thing I still want to try with Vivid Revival. We talked about using Vivid Revival in the green-white deck with like Camaraderie, but
Oh
I'm
boy.
trying to decide like what would be the most busted thing to get back in this deck though. I'm torn.
Izoni is a really, really good target to bring back. An Orcron Assassin, something that's, really easy to be killed, but something that you would really hope to come back. That's something you can bring back. You can also bring back Fine Finality, after one board wipe and you need it again. Just grab again. Or Assassin's Trophy. Also a great card to bring back. There are plenty of good targets.
I just can't pick. They're so good.
Yep. This card is also good though. Yawgmoth's Bio Offering.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
We've seen this card. Yeah.
There's Yawgmoth's name in it.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Probably
It's,
gonna be good.
Yeah, 4 and black for legendary sorcery. So, for those of you who don't remember, it means you need a legendary creature or planeswalker on the battlefield when you're casting it. Now, if in response to you casting this and they remove that thing, it's already on the stack, so it will still resolve. Basically, when this resolves, you put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard, anyone's graveyard, onto the battlefield under your control. And then you destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. And then you exile it. So I really, really, really hope that you don't choose 0 for either one of those up to. You can.
You could. Yeah, you could.
You can say, I'll pay 5 mana to cast this, and I'll choose no planeswalkers or creatures from any graveyard and destroy nothing. You can do that. But
I would do it just for like the memes, basically.
like
I'd do it.
making a statement.
Oh yeah. We gotta establish dominance. I can afford to spend 5 mana and a card doing nothing.
Yeah, oh my gosh. This is a really, really good card. It's slightly a win more, but in Brawl,
you need some of it. It's not inherently bad. I feel like win more cards get like a bad rap, like unnecessarily.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a win more though, because it's actually pretty easy for you to, for example, stick Vraska or any legendary creatures, planeswalkers. Marwyn herself is a legendary creature. So I wouldn't say it's hard for you to cast this, but once you cast this, you will feel the effect of how strong this card is. What's the next card, Jacob?
Next card is Mending of Dominaria. 5 mana, 3 green for a saga, an enchantment saga, and the first 2 chapters are the same. You can put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, and then you get to return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Those are the first 2 chapters. And then chapter 3 says you get to return all land cards from your graveyard onto the battlefield, and then you get to shuffle your graveyard back into your library. So, I think the cool thing is you can like go infinite with Mending of Dominaria. In a very kind of roundabout way, but
yeah, I mean it takes time for you to recur Mending of Dominaria, because Mending goes in the graveyard after you shuffle your graveyard into your library, so you have to recur it again and then you do it again. It's quite convoluted, the whole process, but you can technically go infinite.
I like it. I really like the dumb cards that let you do this. Man, I just miss Elixir of Immortality, alright?
Yeah, we are not playing Scape Shift in this deck, even though you can. I don't see any purpose of playing Scape Shift. There are no combo pieces with this deck, so I'm not playing Scape Shift. But this card makes Scape Shift really good.
I feel like the Scape Shift reprint was literally just to make modern players happy.
Maybe.
It
enabled the Brawl deck with Nexus of Fate. So
that's true. Why didn't have to do that? Why?
Next up, we have the token package, there are not that many of them, but tokens are good because let me remind you what Vraska's +1 do. The
Yeah, if you're
+1
taking
on
notes at home,
Vraska,
sorry, I was gonna go for the meme. I was gonna start
go
a
for
new
it.
meme.
Go for it.
Yeah, so if you're taking notes at home, write that down. Tokens are good.
Yeah. In +1 to sack another permanent, and if you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. That's the +1. You can do that to tokens. You can +1 and target a token, and you can sack that token, and you will gain a life, draw a card, for practically nothing. It doesn't cost you a card; it just costs you a token, which is great. And there are 3 cards in our deck that does that. First one is Izoni Thousand Eyed, 2 black green green for a 2/3 elf shaman, legendary creature. The undergrowth is when it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. And then you can pay black and green to sack another creature. You will gain a life, draw a card.
In our Brawling Pin episode, we didn't look upon this guy very favorably.
No.
Or at least not as favorably as it might have come off as. This guy is actually pretty decent.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Especially if you have ways to put creatures into your bin, which we do.
Like half the deck revolves around it. Yeah, we're green black.
Yeah. And also, it is a sack outlet on a stick. And a sack outlet is always good because now your opponents will hesitate before they, try to take control of your things because, well, guess what? You can just sack the target in response and they get no value out of their action.
Mind control effects are dumb.
Yes,
but
they are.
They're good, but that's why they're dumb. So if you're taking notes at home, write that down. Mind control effects are good.
But Izoni not only being a great card to generate tokens, it's also an elf, and it's also a great reanimation target. It's like all in one, right? Like everything this deck wants to do is on this card. It also draws 2 cards, by the way. This card's amazing.
It is pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty deep.
The next card is less amazing. It's still amazing, but it's less amazing because it's not an elf. It doesn't make elves, which is sad. But Slimefoot, the Stowaway, is one of my pet cards. 1 black green for a 2/3 legendary fungus. When a sapling you control dies, Slimefoot deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. And you can pay 4 to create a 1/1 sapling creature token. Like in late game, you have a lot of mana left over that you don't know what to do with them. Well, now you can, at your opponent's end step, like the person on your right, when they are passing their turn, you're going to be like, on your end step, I'm going to make like 6 sapling tokens. You can do that now.
Hey, remember when you pitched the sapling deck to me first? And I'm like,
Yep.
I don't know, man. This seems kind of loose. I mean, like, I didn't like completely write it off. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not too sure about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That was a good deck. Like I think that's
It's a good deck.
probably one of the best deck we have built for the show.
Easily.
Yep.
Easily.
Yeah, that was a really strong deck. Oh, I missed that deck. Why does it have to rotate out?
Because everything you love rotates.
Yeah. Gonna move that to Commander.
I would.
Desecrated. Yeah, maybe you can talk about that next episode.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
maybe. Who knows?
And does have that sapling archetype.
Yeah,
and
it is a
EDH does
sapling.
have a lot more support for that.
Maybe. Ooh. We'll think about it.
Maybe.
Next up is Desecrated Tomb, which is 3 mana for an artifact. When 1 or more creature card leaves your battlefield, creates a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying.
I dig.
It doesn't care if the card is going to your hand, going on the battlefield. All that matters is
Leave your graveyard.
yeah. So when you're mending of Dominaria, Chapter 3 happens, by the way. When you're shoveling your graveyard back into your library and you have like 16 creatures in your graveyard.
Oh, this image that you just painted, shoveling your graveyard. Yeah, I wanna say, typically desecrating the dead. Like desecrating tomb, desecrating the dead and digging up their their graves is not usually seen as a respectful thing. It's usually a very disrespectful thing, you know?
I mean, that's
And
what the word means.
and we are literally digging up our dead, and we're making them fight for us.
Yep, and we get a bunch of bats out of it. And they'll come back later when we draw them again.
Wow.
But mending is not the only thing that goes with it, right? Like our entire reanimation package goes really well with Desecrated Tomb, which is why I justify putting this in here. You just make those ones really easily.
And one thing I want to point out though with Desecrated Tomb, just to clear this up, because if you're anything like me, you probably have instantly thought about tokens with Desecrated Tomb. Well, I'm just gonna clear up the air here. All right, it says creature cards. It doesn't say creature tokens or just any creature. It says creature cards. So even though tokens technically do hit your graveyard and they technically leave, even though it's not it's a save-based action, and you don't have priority wall to the graveyard. It's creature cards.
Yep. So it doesn't like. Technically, in the rules and the nitty-gritty of the game, when your token dies, they will go to the graveyard and then it will check, oh, the state base will check, oh, it's not a card, so I'm going to move that to exile.
Yep.
That's what happens whenever token things dies. And because it's saying creature cards, they're being really smart with their wording. You don't get the that. I'm sorry.
Imagine if that didn't say creature cards. If it just said creature.
Yeah, that will be pretty busted.
Oh my. Dude, like literally the 1/1 bat it makes when it dies, you just get more bats.
Oh my gosh. Pretty bad. No pun intended.
Oh, come on. You should intend the pun.
Alright, fine. It was intended. Next up, we have the endgame package. The endgame package. This is how we finish the game and close it out. And what's better than our Vraska ultimate? Vraska Golgari Queen, we already talked about ultimate. It's -9 to give you an emblem that says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
I think that's reasonable.
That's reasonable, right? So that ultimate combos with Orcran Assassin, which is 1 black green for 1/1. Elf Assassin with Death Touch, which also says all creatures able to block Orcran Assassins do so. This card has a different way. You can read this differently. It will basically say your opponents have no blockers. And with the emblem online, you can just swing in with Orcran Assassin and one other thing, and they'll just die. There's nothing they can do. And once your Orcran Assassins do her job and goes to your graveyard, use your reanimation spells to bring it back and attack a different guy. Dude, the value is endless. There's also an elf, by the way.
Of course, has to be an elf.
Mm-hmm.
There's only like 2 things in this whole deck that aren't elves, and they get special permits.
Well, more like 3, but this is one of them.
Right.
Torgar Famine Incarnate is 6 black for a 7/6 avatar. Legendary. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may sack any number of creatures. The spell will cost 2 less to cast for each creature sacked this way. When it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player's life total becomes half of their starting life total, rounded down. So if it's 2-player, you put them at 12. If it's 3-player or more, you put them at 15.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. It's quite powerful. And it's the plan B, right? So plan A is ult Vraska and attack with Orcran Assassin. But if you can't get there, this is your plan B. You put someone low enough at 15, and now you're attacking with all your elves because they're already swollen and, ready to battle. Have you died to a Llanowar elves before? It's probably the most humiliating thing you can experience.
Man, why did you have to bring that up? I'm still working on it, hard time for me. Yeah.
Have you talked to your therapist about dying to a 10/10 Llanowar elves?
No, I haven't. Can't say I've done that. I probably should though.
My friend was playing Magic Arena the other day, and he was playing mono green elves, and he was attacking with a Llanowar Elves with like the enchantment that says it gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. And
Wow. How
he
many
has that.
forests?
6 forest. Sorry, 5 forest. But
That's still pretty good.
he also has a Gigantosaurus on board.
Oh
And he also
god.
has Titanic Growth in hand with nothing tapped. So he basically attacked with the with a 6/6 Llanowar Elves and the Gigantosaurus, which is a 10/10, no trample. Opponent has no blockers. He attacks both of them in, and then he casts Titanic Growth on the Llanowar Elves. 20 damage.
That's disgusting, dude.
It's pretty disgusting.
Why is that allowed?
It's just how the game goes. And Torgor allows you to put someone low enough and you can just attack it with everything, including your Llanowar Elves. I think it's a good card in this deck. Especially you can reanimate it and do it to a different player.
Yeah, and we were kind of on the fence about Torgor, in our review. I believe we literally explicitly mentioned like, he's good, but you need the right deck. I think this is it.
Yeah, being able to reanimate him out and being able to have it sack something that you want in your bin is great. Especially after you sack something, you cast Hatchery Spider. 5 green for a 5/7 spider with reach. It also has Undergrowth, which says when you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanence card with confirmation cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, and then you put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. This is like Green Sun Zenith or Genesis Waves.
Why couldn't they just call this Genesis Spider?
Or Genesis Green Sun Spider?
Yeah, I mean, sure, that works, but like, they could have just done that. Why didn't they do that?
I don't know. I think they should. Is it too late for them to change their name? I think it is. The card's been printed.
Well, they can still errata it.
They probably can, but I don't know.
It would be Genesis Spider in spirit, which is it's what we got,
Yeah, but there are lots of good targets that this thing can bring in. Mending of Dominaria is a green permanent. So is Journey to Eternity. Like, can you imagine it bringing in Golgari Vinebroker? Instead of getting one thing back, you're getting 2. That's really good.
Dude, I think you just do that.
Yeah. Just do it.
Just do it.
Alright. That's our endgame package, but how do we get to the endgame without removal? Removal protects us and it helps us to keep it going so we don't die before we get to the late game.
Keep going. We should get hired by like all these companies. Nike, Energizer, keep going,
Well,
oh man. I could chill for days.
Well, the first one we have in the removal package is Vraska Golgari Queen, which is our commander. The -3 is a removal spell, basically. You can pay 4 and pay 4 mana and then -3 loyalty counter with 1 loyalty to change to destroy any non-land permanents with 3 or less confirmed mana cost. I think that's really good.
Seems decent.
There are a lot of good targets 3 or below in this format. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Radiant Destiny, for example, is 3 mana only. Resplendent Angel.
Plenty of targets 3 or less. Plenty. I think, unpopular opinion, they should make this card let you blow up lands.
Oh my gosh.
And, alright, this is another thing that drives me crazy. Like, people will say, oh, unpopular opinion, and then it's not really all that of an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's just not the majority, but it's still, like, it's not, like, out there, Maybe it's, like, 40% or something, right? People will be like, unpopular opinion, and then it's, like, a perfectly reasonable opinion, even if it's not held by the majority. That is an actual unpopular opinion. I think it's more fun that way, but I hate fun, so I guess that's, yeah.
Darn. I think so, too. And you know what else hates fun, though? Ravenous Chupacabra is a 2 black for a 2/2 Beast Hover that destroys target creature and opponent control when it enters the battlefield. I think this is like the ultimate form of hating fun. Just comes in and kills someone's commander.
That's not very nice.
And in this stack, you can reanimate and bring it back. And then you stack it and bring it back again.
That's not very nice.
Then you do it again. I don't think it cares about being nice. I mean, look at his face.
Wow.
It's a really, really angry dog.
Are you a dog person? Do you like dogs?
I am a dog person. I have a dog.
Where is he?
No, he's not here. He's not here with us.
Ah, too bad.
Yep. Next card is Rex Sage, which is 2 and a green for a 2/1 Elf Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifacts or enchantments. Did I also say it's also an elf?
No, you didn't. You did not mention that it was an elf.
It is an elf. It's also a removal that gets rid of artifact and enchantment multiple times because you are gonna reanimate this. I think that's really good.
They like didn't need to make this an elf, but they did it.
They did it. I think that's a decision that they made a long, long time ago. But
Oh yeah, this is a reprint.
yeah, I think it's way too late for them to change that decision now.
We can hope. They can errata
Yeah,
it.
we can hope. Yeah. Well, next up we have Yawmoth's File Offering again. It's half of it is removal spell, not half bad. But the next one though, what's the next card?
Well, the next card, it's a card that has garnered a lot of attention upon its release, and like every single other creator, personality, etc., has already spoken about this card and beaten it to death. So I think it's only appropriate that we do the same. So we're gonna talk about this card for the next hour. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, you got a chair, you got some snacks, because we'll be here a while.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, this card is Assassin's Trophy. It's black green 2 CMC for an instant. Destroy target permanent and opponent controls, and that controller gets to search their library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, untapped, and then shuffle. Obviously.
Yeah. Now, very interestingly, you will notice that not only is it a removal spell, it's also a ramp spell for your opponents. But you don't care about giving them that land because you're going to target a creature controlled by that Joda player, and they're not going to have any basic lands in their deck.
And you know what? One cool thing with this Assassin's Trophy is the exact wording. You have to target something an opponent controls. You can't like target your own thing and like ramp yourself.
You can't ramp yourself, which is quite sad.
Dude, I think
also,
you should. Like it's 2 mana ramp yourself. Like come on, it's not that bad.
And if you look at the art, that's Ispara from
Oh yeah, it is.
Return to Ravnica.
So, and then they chose like a kind of like a Death and Decay kind of like black, orange, greenish like color palette too to really give you that hopeless feeling.
Yeah.
What else can we analyze and beat to death of this card?
Let's see. So it's a story spotlight card.
Oh, it has that little
there's a story about this. Yeah, it does.
It has that.
I think I'm done with beating this card. I think our opponents. I think our brawlers get the gist. This is a good card. You should run it. Moving on is also a 2 mana removal spell. Price of Fame is a 3 and a black for an instant that says destroy target creature and surveil 2. Wait, did I say 2 mana?
You did say 2 mana.
I do mean 2 mana because this spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature. It just kills someone's commander for 2 mana less. For 2 mana.
That's annoying. That's really annoying.
Instant speed, no less. It's really good.
That's so dumb.
Yep. We already talked about finality on the Find and Finality half. The other split card is Status and Statue. Status we haven't talked about is Golgari for an instant that says target creature gets +1/+1 and gain Death Touch until end of turn at instant speed. I guess that's kind of sort of a removal, but Statue is 2 green black for an instant that says destroy target artifact creature and enchantment. So both halves are removals, and situationally you can choose which one to go with.
Yeah, you should not have any shortage of targets for this card, like ever. If you do have a shortage of targets, it's probably because like you already beat everybody.
Yep. Next card also is pretty versatile. Vraska's Contempt is 2 black for an instant that exiles target creature or planeswalker, and then you gain 2.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, I think every deck playing black basically plays this card.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to. It's an instant speed exile removal. for creatures and planeswalkers.
Good enough to
And
me.
yeah, seems really good. But I think that's all the cards in the deck that are worthwhile to talk about. I mean, there are things like Field of Runes, and we haven't talked about that. That's your LD, by the way. They're like Arch of Vraska as draw your card. But overall, I think this deck is pretty decent. I give it like a 8 out of 10, 60%.
I give it a 5 out of 7 perfect score.
But as always, if you have any questions or concerns and comments about our deck, or you figure out some ways to make it better, feel free to reach out to us on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Brawling Pit. You can find us on Reddit as r/Brawling Pit. Email us at brawlingpitmtg@gmail.com, or you can visit our official website at brawlingpit.com. As always, I've been Johnathan, and he is Jacob. See you guys next week. So, Jacob,
What's up?
we talked about a little bit about BlizzCon early on in the episode.
Uh huh.
In the wrong place, before we talked about having an Overwatch podcast, which I'm still against the idea, by the way. I think that's a great idea.
Wow.
But I oh man, I'm like looking at the new Heroes of the Storm hero,
Uh huh.
Orphea, and like a lot of people don't like her because a lot of people are like, we don't need a hero that's not from any Blizzard IP already. But I'm like, dude, it's an entire caster where her whole kit is AoE. I'm like, that's so awesome, and no one shares my opinion. I feel really sad.
I'm gonna be honest. I've not even seen her kit yet.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I haven't seen her kit. So tell me about it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about this a little bit. We're not a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
We're a general flavor.
Let's talk about the passive first, the hero trait. Overflowing Chaos. Whenever you hit an enemy hero with a basic ability, which is your Q, W, and E, it grants 1 Chaos, and Chaos can stack up to 3 times. When Orphea has Chaos, her basic attacks against heroes consume all Chaos, and dealing 50% increased damage per stack, and healing for 100% of damage dealt. So I think the way to like maximize your Chaos output is you do a whole kit, right? You just do Q, W, and E, and then you do an auto attack, and that'll be a big burst, and it also heals you up. It can surprise your opponents, where they're trying to extend themselves and trying to go for a kill, and you're like, okay, no, I have Chaos. I'm gonna make you pay for it. So like when they overextend, like when they're close to your tower, you hit them, and then you heal everything back, and then they're like, oh wait, I can't win this trade, so they'll back off. So just the passive is already like so good.
Yeah, that sounds
right?
pretty decent.
The Q, Shadow Waltz, is after 0.5 seconds, it deals 150 damage to enemies in the line, so it clears way really easily. Hitting a hero with Shadow Waltz sets its cooldown to 2 seconds. It refunds 0 mana and causes Orphea to dash a short distance upon moving. So it not only allows you to clear a wave, it is also a gap closer. It allows you to run towards them. So here you go. It's an AoE ability that's a gap closer, and of course it gives you Chaos, right? We already talked about Chaos. It's really good. Chomp is after 0.625 seconds, it deals 285 damage to nearby enemies in front of Orphea. And then Dread, which is the E, by the way, Chomp is the W. Dread is the E, releases a wave of Dread that deals 85 seconds to enemy hit. Dread erupts 0.75 seconds after reaching the end of its path, dealing 175 damage and closing enemies and slowing enemies in the area by 25% for 2 seconds. So I think the way you do this, so to speak, combo is you Dread, and if the Dread hits, you Shadow Waltz when they're slowed, and then you gap close with Shadow Waltz, and then you Chomp, and then you hit them. I think that's the way you play it. I mean, the hero is not released yet, so I'm not quite sure. But I'm pretty sure that's how you play it.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah. And the two ults, the first one is Eternal Feast. After 1.5 seconds, you deal 210 damage in an area, and then it repeats every 1 second as long as it hits an enemy hero. So it cares about hitting your enemy hero. By the way, this will pump up your chaos really fast. From 0 to 3 right away. Every 1 second. And such a good AoE ability. It almost make me not want to pick Crushing Jaw ever. Like Crushing Jaws is the other ultimate. After 1.25 seconds, you pull enemies in an area towards the center. You deal 275 damage and stunning them for 0.75 seconds, which allows you to unleash your kit on them. I don't know which ult is better. For whole kit, cares about AoEs, cares about hitting heroes, and I think the tricky part of playing her is like there's so much delays, right? Because almost every spell says, "Oh, this happens after this many seconds."
Yeah, and those delays can make things pretty difficult, unless they're like manageable delays. And did they release her talent trees yet? So the cool thing about Heroes of the Storm though is like all the talents like change, they like upgrade your abilities or like drastically change them. So like any of these talents, like they sound good now. They have like a very good chance of being even better than what we're seeing right now. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
unfortunately, Blizzard has a really poor habit of front loading their new heroes. And honestly, I'm actually kind of a slight fan of Heroes of the Storm. This season, I'm leveling a new account, and I'm gonna see if I can get to diamond. I got to platinum a while ago, but let's see if I get diamond. I'm really looking forward to this hero now. I didn't know anything about it until you told me. And honestly,
Yeah,
I'm also looking forward to non like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, because on another actual unpopular opinion, okay, I don't like the character design for like any of Blizzard's heroes or characters in general.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan. I don't know why. Like I don't like character designs for Overwatch. I don't like how they look. I don't like their characters. Same with WoW. Same with StarCraft. Same with Diablo.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not to my taste. They're not bad. I just not my preference. That's all. I know a ton of people like them though.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then this hero's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch your stream when you're doing it.
Yeah. If I ever get to GM